All right, hey everybody, welcome to Dana Disagrees. Today, what we're doing is just a simple Q&A. So, last week I put up a story on my Instagram with one of the polls or the ask me a question thing to just ask all of you who follow me to submit a question, and I'm just going to read through them and I'm going to answer them. And this is completely off the cuff. All I did was check and make sure that you guys asked me some questions in Instagram so I had something to answer when I came here. But I didn't write these myself. I didn't plan answers for them. All I'm gonna do is go back. I mean, I went to my Instagram and I screenshotted the story, like the background of the story, so I could have them in my photos, so I don't have to keep going back into Instagram in case my phone times out and stuff. But that's what we're gonna do today. I don't have a coffee today because I was supposed to film this morning and then the sound equipment wasn't working, and so now we're filming in the middle of the afternoon, and so now I just have some water with me, and I better take a drink before we go because I like to talk. So, and I can talk for a while, so I better make sure I'm hydrated. If you don't know this about me already, I mean, I'm a big health person and stuff. And so drinking enough water is actually important to me. If I don't drink enough water, that's really when I see issues with my skin and like breaking out in my skin and stuff. So I try to make sure I drink like three of these. This is 32 ounces. I try to make sure I drink three of these in a day. And I put electrolytes in my water all the time. You guys should too, because again, health person here. It's one thing to drink your water, and it's a whole other thing to actually absorb your water. But we're just doing Q&A today, so this is meant to be fun. It's just meant to be off the cuff. I'm just gonna give the answer that comes to my mind, and so we'll see where we get with this and how long we go. And there are no rules here because I don't like rules, so I don't want to follow rules. I'm not putting rules on myself for this podcast. You shouldn't either. If you have not joined my school community though, 3MN, I would highly, highly encourage you to go do that. There's over 600 men in there right now working on mind, muscle, and money. Remember, that's what 3M stands for: mind, muscle, and money. And so we're building those inside of there. I'm giving like pro tips and tricks and things like that that have to do with women, explaining things about women in relationships, like why women are clingy or what to do when she says she needs space and stuff like that. So it would mean a lot to me if you guys went and did that. All right, let's get to some of our first ones. All right, we are starting out a little bit basic. How tall are you? Okay, well, I am 5'5". I'm right around like 130 pounds ish. I have been 5'5" since seventh grade, I think. And then, as you get older and you mature, like how your body weight is distributed, changes a little bit. But I've been pretty much this since like high school ish. I haven't fluctuated a whole lot except for, when I had kids. And then working out and health and nutrition is super important to me, and I wanted to get back to my normal looking self after having kids. And so I did my workouts, and I've always been eating healthy. I eat a lot more protein now than what I did back then. I should have been having more back then probably. But I'm 5'5", right around 130, and that's just where we live. Okay, what's your go-to quote that you use on the regular? Um, well, it's not really mine. I stole it from Andy Frisella. If you guys don't know who Andy Frisella is, he's the founder of First Form, but he's the one who created 75 Hard. And I listen to his podcast all the time, which is called Real AF. Highly recommend you listen to Real AF. I get that's like how I know what's going on in the news, and there's a lot of personal development and business information inside of Real AF. But one thing that he says all the time that I have started to say in my life all the time is that discipline is a perishable skill. And discipline is one of my superpowers, right? Discipline is doing what needs to be done no matter what, even though you don't want to do it, and doing it over and over and over again. That's discipline. We all think that we have to be motivated to do something. We don't have to be motivated. We're all motivated for an hour a week. I'm not motivated for any more than like probably 1 or 2 hours in a week. The rest of it is discipline. Doing the things that need to be done, even though you don't want to do them, day in and day out. And if you can master discipline, you can master a whole lot in your life. But Frisella says that discipline is a perishable skill, meaning that it can go away. And if you don't exercise discipline on a regular basis, it can absolutely go away, right? Because that's inside of your brain saying, oh, you don't need to go work out, or oh, you can have this cheat meal and it's not that big of a deal. That's your voice infiltrating, saying like trying to get you to do the wrong things, trying to get you to get rid of your discipline. We don't want to do that. If we do those things, you don't have discipline anymore. So discipline is a very perishable skill. You got to keep putting the reps in and keep practicing it in order to actually stay good and have good discipline. Okay. Are trans people mentally ill? Well, hopefully I don't get taken down for talking about this or anything. Here's what I think. I think that when someone is questioning themselves, I think that mentally something is going on and something is going wrong. There's an imbalance somewhere because that's not normal and that shouldn't happen in our lives. But here's also how I look at this, where I'm like, okay, you feel like you don't know who you are. And okay, that's fine. We just need to get you some help. And I wish society would look at it like that. Just that it's okay. It's okay that you are questioning who you are. Let's just get you some help and get your brain, your hormones, whatever, wherever the imbalance is, let's just get you back to normal. When people say they have anxiety or they have depression, we don't say, "Oh, high five, like keep going with that, you do you." No, we say, "Oh, I'm sorry that you're dealing with that. Here, let's get you some help." Why can't we do the same thing for these people? It's the exact same thing that they need to have done for them. All they need is a little bit of help in order to get back on track and in order to just get back to normal. Like that's really what it is. But instead, we celebrate it as if it's something to be celebrated, that you're confused or that something in your body is off. That's nothing to be celebrated. That's crazy. That's that's literally it's literally insane. So yes, I do think there's a mental component there, and I hope as a culture we can really identify it and just address it and accept that it's okay that you're having this issue. Let's help you work through it and get your body back to normal. That's what I think about that. Oh, my phone keeps timing out, you guys. Okay, the ultimate. Why is it we men are not enough? Okay, well, that's kind of like a loaded question. I wish I could ask that person a few more details behind it to see what he's really getting at. But okay, there's when opposing statements are true, like, okay, maybe you're not enough for someone, but also like you are enough. Okay, both of those things can be true. So when two things are true, that means that the truth is actually in the middle. Okay, a lot of men out there aren't working on their three M's, their mind, muscle, and money. And so, depending on the woman, you might not be enough for her. Okay. But we can flip this around. I mean, my following is mostly men, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to call out women at the same time. There are a number of women out there who also probably feel why am I not enough for any of these guys? Well, you're not enough for some of them, but you probably are enough for some other ones. And it just depends on the relationship, and it just depends on what do you have to offer to them. So a lot of you know, I work here at the Wellness Way, and if you have been inside of 3MN in school, and if you have taken the course How to Win inside of there, you know that I talked back and forth on all the episodes with Dr. Patrick Flynn. He's the founder of the Wellness Way, and he and I have been good friends for a really long time. And one thing that he always stresses around here is the importance of the value you provide to someone, because everything in this world is just a big exchange of value. So think about what you're bringing to the table in the relationship and think about the value that you're bringing. Whatever value you bring, you probably can only get a woman who brings roughly that same amount of value. So if on a scale of 1 to 10, if you can bring a 2, well, you're probably only going to get the 2. And if you can bring 5, then you can probably get the 5. And if you can bring 10, then you can get the 10. Does that make sense? Everything, this includes her and what she brings to the table. Everything is just a big exchange of value. And the more value you can bring to yourself and bring to the world through bettering yourself, I guess is what I'm trying to say, the more you are then seen as worth it. The more that you guys can work on your 3 M's, the more you can get a woman who appreciates that about you and is also working on her 3 S's. Does that make sense? I hope that all makes sense. That's what I have to say about that. All right. Somebody is asking, okay, how to survive cheaper to keeper. I mentioned this on another episode before. I think I've definitely said it in content before. Oh, I can't remember the last time I said it, but cheaper to keeper is Saying used by some men when they're talking about, well, it's just cheaper for me to keep her than it is for me to split half my stuff, split half my money with her. And I really don't like when men say that. I really, I don't even agree with the statement itself. Now, do I think that people should work through things and work to have a really great and thriving relationship? Yes, but we also need to live in reality and realize how often divorce happens and the stats behind it and what's causing it and everything. But on its own, the statement cheaper to keep her is just a load of bullshit, honestly, because it's actually very, very expensive to probably keep her. The men who are looking at that, they're only thinking about the dollar signs and they're only thinking about the dollar signs for right now. Here's the thing. If you are a man and let's say your net worth, we're going to use really easy numbers because it's math. Let's say your net worth is $1 million and you're like, oh, like, I don't wanna have to keep her, but dang, I would have to give her $500,000. I mean, I know it doesn't work like that, like, in real life, but just hang with me on the example here. Oh, like, I would have to give her that much, and I'm sitting here like, "Well, that's cheap compared to the fact that when you let go of the anchor that is in your life, you're gonna be worth 20 million, and all of a sudden, that's not so it's so expensive to keep that person. Sure, okay, you might cut her the check for 500 grand now, but you're missing out on 19 million if you want to get to 20, right? It's costing you 19 and you're worried about cutting a check for 500. That's crazy. That's crazy when you really look at it like that. This cheaper to keep her, anybody who says that and thinks that, they're completely missing the boat on this is what I think. You're completely missing the boat on it. You have the wrong perspective on it. You are doing actually the much more expensive thing by really just staying where you are. So that's cheaper to keep it. That's my opinion about that. Okay. Self-care because men tend to overlook it. Oh, that's an interesting one because normally women are the ones who are always talking about self-care. So, okay, one thing that I want to say, and I think this is applicable to both men and to women, is that I want everybody to be careful that self care is not the same thing as indulgence. Okay. Women, especially, can look at self care and they can say, well, I deserve to have this treat to eat, or I deserve to have retail therapy, or, something like that. But if it's someone who's struggling with their weight and then they think that they deserve to indulge in a whole big cheat meal that undoes their progress of the week, or if it's someone who's struggling with money and then they think it's okay to go spend $500 at the mall when they really don't have that, that's not self-care, that's indulgence, and it's really just self-sabotage. So however you are taking care of yourself and however you are prioritizing yourself, the thing I want to say about that is to make sure that it is just not self sabotage, actually. Men can fall into this too. You guys need your time by yourself to just unplug, be away from others. Women need it too. Humans need it. I need a reasonable amount of alone time to just like feel good. I love my family and all, but also like get away from me. I need time to just be by myself. And that's really important for men too. I think our culture perpetuates it a lot. Or not perpetuates isn't really the right word, but culture pushes this a lot for women, or women are more the ones talking about it. But the reality is you guys are working so hard and busting your ass out there, oftentimes, asterisk, oftentimes more than women. And you need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself too, because we know that you're providing for the family. We know that you're working late, but yeah, you need to take care of yourself and do the things that you need to. Taking care of yourself might look different than how women do it for themselves, right? The bubble bath and the manicure and all that. Maybe you just need alone time to go hunt in the woods, to walk in the woods, to play around a golf, to go to the gym, whatever it is that you like to do, make sure you're carving out that time to be able to do that. Men can handle a lot more mental stress than what women can, and that's great. So there might not be as much alone time that you need. There might not be as much self-care as what, maybe a woman would need, but you guys need it too, and I need you to prioritize yourself just like in the same way that women do. Make sure you're getting what you need in your alone time, in your self-care time. Um How to build confidence. That's a pretty vague one. I mean, the Instagram stories don't let you put, too many details in them when you're typing. But how to build confidence? Okay, confidence is my other superpower. By the way, discipline and confidence are probably my two biggest superpowers. You know what confidence is? It's reps. It's reps, you guys. It's like when you go to the gym, can you lift the 50-pound dumbbell? No, you have to lift the 10 and then you lift the 15 and then you lift and then you work your way up to the 50. You can't lift the 50 right away. You have to practice. You have to put in reps. It's not like one day you go take a course or one time you just go to the gym and you're like, "Oh, now I have confidence because I did this weekend." That's not how it works. You have to do things over and over and over and over again. And that's how you build the confidence. You never just wake up one day and say, "Oh, I'm confident today." That's something that's built in time. Okay. It's built with reps. It's built with doing things over and over again so that you're comfortable and confident in what you're doing. Of course, you're not confident in something when you're not good at doing it. You haven't put in the reps yet. That doesn't matter if it has to do with the gym or something at work or asking women out or, I mean, being confident going on dates takes you going on dates. You have to put in the reps. You have to practice going on dates and meeting people so that when you do find the right person, like you're ready for that person. It's confidence. It just comes down to putting the reps in. That's really all it is, and that's the answer every single time. I should do or a whole podcast on confidence probably one of these times. Ooh, favorite workout routine. Okay. You guys know that I'm in the gym on a regular basis. I work out at home and then I also work out at the gym. Most days I am working out at home because I have two little kids. They're 8 and 10, and so I take them to daycare in the morning. I drop them off at daycare, and like that's our wraparound care and stuff. And so I do have to be home in the morning. I can't just go come to work, go to the gym, and then stay at work. Because here where I work at Wellness Way, we have a gym here for employees, which is super awesome. But on the weekends, I'm definitely always here at the gym. And then some weekdays I can end up making it in. But favorite workout routine. Okay, my favorite thing to do is glutes because here's the thing, like women, most guys, I've told you guys before, most guys probably 2/3, maybe 70%, maybe on the high end, like 75%. Most are butt guys. Okay. Like, and then others are boob guys, and then there's other features that are, important too. But if you know me, like I haven't been blessed with double D's, even though those have been my initials my entire life. So that means I need to have a really good butt. So that's what I work on all the time is working every time it's leg day, it's really just butt day. Because if it's butt day, you get to work your legs and that you work your thighs, you work your calves, even on days when it's really glute focused. And so I love the glute workouts that I do. I do try to switch it up. I know how good hip thrusting is, but I have to admit, you guys are going to comment on this too. I know you're going to. The bar on my hip bones, like it hurts, and I don't always want to do that. So I try to find ways around, even though I know how good hip thrusters are. They're so good. I actually follow Brett Contreras, who is the one who he's the glute guy. He created the hip thrust. I like following him because he has a lot of really good glute exercises out there, and so I try to do hip thrusters if I can. RDLs, I do a lot of those. I actually have Versa grips is what they're called. I don't make any money off of this. I'm just telling you about the brands that I like. But Versa grips because I can't grip as much weight as I can actually lift, and I don't want a grip to get in the way of me building my butt, obviously. So I have Versa grips that help me grip the bar so that I can put more weight on it, and then it helps so that my grip strength doesn't have to be quite as much. So there's those. Bulgarian split squats make it in quite a few times. I normally have a 15 or a 17.5 in each hand. I can do 20, but if I do 20s, then I can't quite do as many reps. There's those. There's gosh, what are they called? The hip abductors. I might not be saying that right. The one where you have your legs like this and then, good girl, bad girls, right? I guess these would be bad girls, right? Because you're opening up your legs. And because those help work like the glute med, and they might help you kind of get a shelf, I think. I can't remember anymore, to be honest. Those are probably oh, and squats. I have the bar on my back. I put a probably 15 only on each side. I don't lift super, super heavy. I mean, I want to be able to lift more, but those are mostly the ones that I do, especially when I'm here at the gym. If I'm at home, I can still do Bulgarian split squats. I can do dumbbell RDLs, but I'll do like one and a half. So like you go all the way down, you come part way up, you go down, and then you come all the way up. When I'm at home, I actually do Beachbody. I do a lot of stuff with Sean T. Right now, I do his Dig Deeper program. I've done 6 weeks of the work on Beachbody before with Amala Caesar. That one is super, super great. I haven't done that one in a while though. But when I come to the gym, then I'm writing the workout that I do, and then I'm using all the equipment that's here. When I'm at home, I'm dumbbells only, and I'm following some kind of program to go along with. But that's probably my favorite. Glutes are always my favorite. Um, Favorite workout routine. Okay, we did that one. Okay, how to deal with an affair happening in your marriage and how to go forward without losing your sanity with having kids. Okay, there's a lot probably to unpack there. I might have to read that question a couple of times. So again, I don't have much context here for what the full story is and anything like that. I'm just kind of reading the questions. But okay, one thing that I want to say about this is if infidelity happens and you stay, I just want to be clear that you are rewarding that behavior and you should probably expect it to happen again because you are rewarding that behavior. Now, I understand that people can work through things like this and then they can be stronger, but the reality is if you stay after this, you are rewarding the behavior that the person did, and they're probably more likely to continue to do it over and over again, potentially. And so that's something to be very mindful of. That's something to be very careful of inside of your relationships. I understand that this person said that there's kids involved. I understand that there are kids involved, and I understand that there are reasons that people stay for kids. And I think that there are valid reasons to do that, and I think that there are invalid reasons to do that because what you're teaching your kids in that scenario is it's okay to be disrespected. And I don't think that that's something that we should want to teach our kids. I think if you are dealing with this inside of your marriage, I don't know how much weight you should really give to having kids because what you're putting on display for them is a fake relationship where a lot of disrespect is happening. And is that really what you want to model on either side of the aisle on this? Why would you stay together in that scenario and have a fake relationship and put on a show for everyone and perform for everyone when you could be in real relationships and to show your kids that way how real relationships actually function instead of staying together and showing how dysfunction works. Plus, then with your kids, they grow up thinking that they're or realizing later in life that their whole childhood was a lie. So there's also that piece of it to consider. Now, to be clear, again, I understand that people can work through it. I think it's great when they do. I know a couple who did. I know a man who caught his wife cheating on him like at home with someone. It was on camera and all this kind of stuff. And they managed to work through it and they are a very strong couple now. And I think that's super great. But I also know other couples where that's not the case. The person kept doing it over and over again. Or maybe they stopped for a time and then started it up again. And the spouse who, whatever, in any case, they're they're not happy where they are. You can tell by looking at them. And I know couples that are like that too. I've met, I don't know, both sides of the aisle in this really. And it's a hard situation. It's really more of a case by case thing, in my opinion, of what probably needs to be done about that. But I I think if you stay, I think you have to be careful to expect that it will happen again because you rewarded the behavior and probably not be surprised if it happened again. The other things to consider in this situation is also whenever I think there's something to be said about why did it happen in the first place? Because Did it happen because that person's just a bad person? Because sometimes yes, but I would also venture to say, well, but sometimes not. What's really going on behind the scenes? Because let's just say a woman is crabby all the time. She's disrespectful to her husband. They don't have any intimacy. What do you think is going to happen? Like, is this surprising? It shouldn't shock you that he's going to look for intimacy and emotional connection elsewhere. That shouldn't be surprising to anybody. Not saying that's what should happen. It just shouldn't be surprising to anybody. I mean, I think back to like the Coldplay affair that happened over the summer, and there were people putting up pictures of whoever the HR person was, and then the guy's wife, and saying, "Well, he wanted this over this," and I'm like, "That's probably not that shocking to me. What do we know about that wife? Yes, like, I can see that she's skinny and pretty, but is she crabby? Is she withholding intimacy? Is she disrespectful? What's really going on behind the scenes that prompted a lot of this? I don't know. We might never know. I don't know their lives. I don't know the behind the scenes. I don't know, what prompted anything and what happens at work. And I don't know the inner workings of their relationship. So I can't judge a whole lot on that, but I can ask questions and look at it and think about like, well, something had to happen somewhere, right? Something somewhere. Somebody had to have withheld something. There had to have been a lack of emotional connection. The on the guy's end, maybe on the girl's end too, there had to have been if you're not afraid of losing someone and you also like think that they won't leave anyway, you're going to keep doing it. Like those are the two main things. If you don't fear, the risk of losing that person, like if you don't really care if you lose that person and then plus you think they won't walk away anyway, you're just going to keep doing it. Because why not? You don't have anything to lose. Versus if you have a man who really really respects and loves that woman and doesn't want to, he admires her, he doesn't want to risk losing her and he knows that if he does something she's going to walk away, then he's probably going to be loyal to her. Does that make sense? That's kind of what I think about. That's kind of a longer answer than what I thought I would give to that. I unpack that a little bit more than what I thought I would, but those are my just kind of off the cuff, off the top of my head questions about that or answers to that. All right. Good nutrition without 4 buckets of supplements breaking the bank. I love that one because you guys know that I love health and nutrition and fitness and supplements and all of the things. Okay, the first thing that I'm going to say is unless you are eating a perfectly balanced, well-rounded nutritious, high density, whole food, organic, properly prepared diet and getting plenty of sunlight and getting at least 8 hours of sleep and you don't have any stress, only at that time will you not have to take supplements. That's the reality. Okay? Supplements are meant to supplement your diet, supplement what's going on. Um, Other thing, like, and there are different, when we say supplements too, I mean, there's different classes of what we can look at. There's whole food nutrition, there's nutraceuticals, there's homeopathy, there are herbs. There's all these different classes of what we can look at too for what you need for whatever you have going on for your health in your life. But if you can eat really good food almost all the time, like, yeah, you probably do need, fewer supplements in your life. And so good nutrition comes down to typically, now I'm going to blanket this, okay? Everybody has their own specific case, but typically this comes down to, all right, what are your macros looking like? Probably a lot of protein is what's needed. How many carbs you need in a day really probably depends on your activity level and what your goals are. And the same thing for fat. For the most part, people do need a lot of protein because when you look at our bodies, we are 65% water. And after that, we are 20% protein. So that means you need to eat a lot of protein. I always tell people, I'm like, you have these teeth right here. You have canines for a reason, and that's so that you can eat meat. Meat is super, super important. Plus, who doesn't like to eat meat? I like to eat meat all the time. It's great, and it fills you up, and it also helps to really stabilize your blood sugar. And so, hang on, I'm going to read this again. Okay, good nutrition without 4 buckets of supplements breaking the bank. Yeah, so good nutrition is getting those macros to where they need to be depending on what your goals are. I can't blanket advise you guys, for what that is. I can tell you what mine are. Mine, I typically eat 140 to 150 grams of protein per day. I am right around 100 carbs, and fat is anywhere from probably 70 to 90 grams in a day. That's what works for me and my activity levels and the goals that I have. That's not going to be the same for you, probably. Some of you are going to need more protein than that. Some of you can need more or less carbs than that, depending on what you have going on. Some of you need more or less fat than that. That's typically what I'm eating in a day, and I work out and lift every day. I have one rest day per week, but I work out and I lift every day. I don't train necessarily, but I work out every day. Training to me is like a lot more intentional and a lot harder than what I probably do. I still push myself and I still push in the gym and I work to go up in weight, but I wouldn't qualify what I do as training. It's more like I work out. Um and then the supplements that you get, just please, you guys, for the love of God, make sure that you are getting high quality supplements because the FDA doesn't really like regulate supplements very well. You got to have a proper label on them and all that kind of stuff. But they don't look for dyes and fillers and all this other garbage. So whatever you're getting at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS just is not the stuff. It is not the stuff. I promise that. Make sure wherever you're getting supplements from, it's a reputable company. You know that there's no extra crap. And look at the label. There should be no red 40, yellow 5, any of that kind of stuff. Make sure there's not just a bunch of added sugar inside of your supplements too, because sugar is a detriment to the body. So why take it in your healthy supplements? Just have your supplements be nice and healthy. Here at Wellness Way, we do a lot of herbs, and herbs do not taste good. Like most of our stuff tastes like if you piss in a bottle and you put it out in the sun to ferment for 5 days, and then you put it through a strainer to get all the gunk out, and then you drink it. That's what it tastes like around here. But we're okay with that because we know that they're really high quality because we don't put a bunch of added sugar and stuff in there just to make them taste good. We just accept that they taste really bad and we go with it because we know that they're working for ourselves. Okay. The same thing is true for you guys. You don't have to get your supplements with me and you don't have to get them from Wellness Way, but for wherever you're getting them from, make sure you know how they're being made. Make sure you just look at the ingredients in them because there might be sugars and dyes or some other kind of fillers inside of them. But supplements are still really important because they help supplement your diet because you're probably not going to get everything you need from food anymore. The topsoil is not what it used to be, and there's glyphosate in the rainwater for crying out loud. So supplements are important. The quality of supplement is what's really going to matter there. If any of you need help with that, please leave a comment here for me. Please leave a comment below or send me a message on preferably Instagram because I check those the most. But also if you're inside my school community, you can, make a comment or something in there, or you can make a post in there and I'll come comment on it. I'm here to help for any of those kinds of things. Okay. Last one, I think. How to rewire my brain to get rid of past issues. Um, I'm just going to focus on the rewiring of the brain part because that I can definitely speak into stuff that's happened in the past to people that can be, that can be a little bit subjective, I suppose. Um, how to rewire my brain to get rid of past issues. So again, this goes back to kind of what I was saying with confidence. It's reps. Okay. Rewiring your brain, you might as well untangle Christmas tree lights in the dark. It's that hard to do because a lot of your neural pathways, the wiring in your brain, are very, very, very solidified. And you want to make new ones. So that comes from reps and it comes from developing new habits and doing habits, right? Habits are an automatic response to a specific situation, automatic, creating new habits and doing them over and over and over again. Repetition is what really helps with that. That's honestly the best way and really the only way to rewire your brain. There aren't shortcuts around this. You don't take a weekend course that costs $9.97 to be able to rewire your brain. You certainly don't do it in a week or a month sometimes even. Sometimes it can take years to rewire yourself, especially if it's hard-coded in things from like childhood, especially if you're dealing with big issues that um That a lot of people do, like with money. Rewiring your brain on how you need to think about money is super hard. Rewiring your brain for how you view men and women and relationships, that can be super hard depending on what you were brought up with and how hardwired something is inside of your brain. And so it comes down to a lot of repetition. Okay? A lot of repetition, a lot of new habits. In marketing, cuz I work in marketing, you know that when you repeat something over and over and over again, that's how you get into people's brains, okay? That's what you need to do in order to rewire your brain. You need to repeat the same things over and over again. You have to put the reps in. You have to read the same things over and over again. Listen to the same things over and over again. That's really the only way that you're ever going to rewire your brain is the discipline of doing the reps over and over and over again. Another way that you can help with this, just like kind of mentally and questions that you can ask yourself that I'll come back to sometimes. I learned this in a mindset coaching group that I'm in, but you ask yourself two questions. So first of all, whatever it is that you're thinking that you want to change your thinking on or something that you know isn't really true, you ask yourself, why do I believe this? And you try to answer, like, why do I believe this? Is this because my parents believed it? Is it because a friend told me? Is it because I watched the news and they told me? Is it because some other media source is telling me? Is it because I see it on social media? Why do you believe this? And then you ask yourself, and then so once you know that answer, then you ask yourself, is this true? Is this belief true? And then you have to follow it up with a, can you be absolutely sure that it's true? Or do you just think it's true? Because if you can't absolutely prove that something's true, then how do you actually know that it's true? You don't. So when you're working at rewiring your brain, you ask yourself those things. Why do I believe this? Is it true? Can I absolutely be sure that it is true? And that will help you break down a lot of the wiring and it'll help you do a lot of rewiring and it'll honestly help you break down just a lot of limiting beliefs that you might even have inside of your brain. Because limiting beliefs are just that. They limit what you think you can do in your life. And in order to get rid of those, you have to rewire your brain. So you need to ask yourself those questions in order to be able to rewire yourself and move past everything. Brought a little personal development in there today. I like this. You guys asked some good questions, kind of a variety of stuff too and stuff that I like to talk about, but I wanted to just do a Q&A episode because I want to just be able to come here off the cuff answer some of your questions and we can just see what kind of footage we can get. So, I hope you like what I have for today. If you have other questions you want me to address cuz I'm going to do more Q&A episodes, put them in the comments below so that I can pull them. If they're public like that, I won't be afraid to say your name. If you want to message me one privately, you can do that. All these were messaged to me privately because they were just replies to my story, which is why I didn't say anybody's name. But I'm happy to say your name if that's what you want me to do. Otherwise I won't. So that's it. That's it for today's episode. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not done that already. Please also join 3M Men on School. That would mean a lot to me, you guys. I have a lot going on in there and I try to post inside of there and talk to you guys and be active and see what's going on and see, how I can be helping everybody and what kind of issues that we're dealing with. Plus it's a bunch of men that are just like you and everybody's just looking for answers and trying to build a brotherhood and find friends and stuff and I'm just here to facilitate all of that for you. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, those are all the places that you can find Dana Disagrees, and I would love if you would follow me in all of those places. All right. We will see you guys next time. I'll be back with some more normal content the next time, and we'll do some more Q&As in the future too. All right. See you later.